This is Pet Life Radio. Let's talk pets.
Hello, my cat-loving friend. So, as you may have figured out by now, it's not like we keep it a secret. Rita lives with 18 cats, and I live with 12.
Let's be clear, though, they belong to the sanctuary.
And that, yes, they're sanctuary cats. And that elicits two responses. Holy cow, oh my goodness, shock eyes, or this is my dream. So let's talk about the reality. Is it the same to add a fourth, a fifth, a sixth as it is to have two? We'll be right back after this word from our amazing sponsor. Hey, it's Linda Hall from 19 Cats and Counting.
And I'm Rita Reimers from 19 Cats and Counting. You know the expression that cats have 9 lives? Well, what if you can give them one more? The Give Them 10 movement is on a mission to help give cats an extra life.
How? With spay and neuter. Spaying or neutering your cat helps them live a longer, healthier life, and it helps control the free-roaming cat populations, too. You can learn more about the benefits of spay and neuter and meet Scooter, the neutered cat, at GiveThem10.org.
That's GiveThem10.org.
Let's Talk Pets on PetLifeRadio.com.
Welcome back to 19 Cats and Counting. I am your co-host who is so blessed to be here, Linda Hall.
We are.
With my beautiful, my wonderful, long-suffering, been a rough road the last few months, Rita Reimer.
Yeah, it's been a fun few months. I'm sure y'all know my parents both passed away 5 weeks apart just before the holidays, so still dealing with a lot of that. I don't think I'll grieve all the way until the house is sold.
Yeah, it comes in bits and pieces, you know.
But doing things like this keeps my mind off of it. I want to talk to people about what is it like to live with 12 and 18 cats, and how did we do it, and why did we do it, and
why did we?
Oh my God!
So first, let me ask you a question. Did you ever, in your wildest dreams, imagine, if you set yourself back before you got to these numbers, imagine that you would live with 18? You've had as many as 21 cats in your house.
Yeah, no.
Did you ever imagine it? And was it something that you wanted? Like, the more the merrier. Bring them in.
Honestly, snuck up on me. The first 2, I wanted 2, okay? And then the third one was given to me. And then the fourth one I found outside. And then he ran away. So then somebody felt bad for me and gave me 2 kittens they had on their farm. And it just grew from there.
You know, I've tried to trace this. So, honey, I want a cat. And then, oh, wait, they do better in pairs. So that was number 2.
Oh, yeah, your husband didn't
that.
like cats at first.
Yeah, he doesn't
does
want
now.
cat. He had it in his head that they were like, feral barn cats. And yeah, he wasn't going to have that. But then he succumbed, and then it was like, okay, 2. And then we ran to the lady that ran the rescue, and there was a story. There's always a story. And we went and got Latte. And then my husband decided, because Super and Baca were good friends and Latte was hanging out by herself, that she needed a friend, which got us Warren, which actually Baca just was a people cat. That wasn't a concern of hers. But anyway.
And then you had no cat sitting on your lap. So.
Well, honestly, this is a true story when I brought in the 2. Because I grew up with dogs. Where's your dog? Next to you. Always, right? You get up in the other room. The dog goes with you. You go into the door. The dog is with you.
You walk to the bathroom, the dog's with you. You walk to the mailbox, the dog's with you.
Everywhere we go. I brought these 2 cats in, and one's laying on a bed upstairs and one's laying in the kitchen, and I'm on the couch with no cats. I need more cats. I didn't intend on 12 cats.
Now, especially those last 3, you just added 3 at a time, let alone the integration with your cats and your daughter's cats that all now belong to the sanctuary. You took in 3 neonates.
Here's a little side note, right? I mean, we're going to talk about Maltese and living with Maltese, but the truth of the matter is, how many times have we said, no, I'm full, I'm done, I can't take anymore. And then there's this cat whose life is in danger, and they're about to euthanize it, and it's hurt, and somebody kicked it out, and we end up bringing it in.
Yeah, the last few of mine are young. I didn't intend it.
Yeah, I have 3 that are, 4 or 5 months old now. I'd have to do the math, but yeah,
That leads into another topic we'll talk about on another podcast. That's what do you do if your cats outlive you? We'll have another podcast talking about that. But when did you notice, Linda, that as you're acquiring and your numbers are going up, when did you notice that things in the household are really different when you've got more than 1 or 2 cats?
I think up somewhere between 5 and 7.
Yeah, me
I really
too.
started noticing. And for valid reasons. Cats are in the middle of the food chain. They're always fighting for their safety, their lives, and their resources. And you keep bringing in these cats who are eating their resources, and they have no idea that you will, that it's okay, right? That you're going to provide more litter, you're going to provide more food. It's all going to be okay. They miss that memo. They're working on instinct. And so, yeah, it gets tougher. And, I want the profit. He's in this spot.
Especially if they've come from outside.
This makes a huge difference that people don't understand. I was just reading one of our pre-cons that's coming up that I believe she booked anyway. I was reading through her notes to kind of get a basic plan before I talk to you and we work it out. And the kitten was found outside, which tells you probably born of a feral, right?
Mama might have abandoned it because it had health issues, or it was young, or it was a runt, or she maybe got killed.
Yeah. And tell me about feral kittens kittens born to feral mamas, even if you scoop them up right away.
Yeah, all that stuff comes through the placenta, and all of those heightened instincts for security and survival and protecting your resources. It's built into cats. I mean, the further they are into not being close to their feral roots, they lose some of that. But it's always true of cats. We don't like to say always and never, but in this case, it's always true of cats. They're going to proceed with caution, because if they make a mistake out of nature, what happens, Linda?
It's their life. It's their resources. I tell clients all the time, if somebody comes into my colony in nature, they're not looking for mimosas and brunch. They're going to kick my hind end, if not exterminate me. And they're going to steal all of my resources, my happy spot. This is everything. Imagine home invaders coming in and taking your home, your food, your family, your everything. That is literally what is on the line here for these cats. And that being passed on through the placenta, as Dr. Kelly explained to us, which we suspected.
We suspected it, and then Dr. Kelly confirmed it.
We had that discussion many times. We're like, I don't have anything to back this up on, but have you noticed? And then Dr. Kelly, but think about humans when they're pregnant, they try to stay calm. That cortisol goes through, it affects your baby. You'll have you tend to have more nervous stuff to your babies if you've had a nervous, fussy pregnancy.
You think the more nervous the mom is, the more nervous the kittens are when they're born?
I do. I think, I don't understand the science of what she said, but she said it's passed on through the placenta. And that makes sense because my placenta, when I was pregnant for humans 80 million years ago, passes on all their nutrients and everything, right? And if my cortisol is increased, we all know what that does to our bodies through the stress. I'm giving it to the baby. I'm
laughing because the door flew open. For a long time, Linda's had the 3 kittens sequestered in that room till she could get them neutered. There was a wait for that. So now we're back to watching So let's talk about that. I want to talk about some peculiarities in the multi-cat household, but let's talk about, you got the kittens neutered finally. I noticed the doors open and everybody's sharing space. How did that go?
Well, I actually had to move where the kittens were sequestered. So when I first got them, we think that little one was like
Teddy.
3 weeks. Hey, Teddy. We think that little one was like 3 weeks and the others are maybe 5 weeks. And they were precious and adorable and amazing. And for the first few nights, they had full reign of my bedroom and everything. And then they started becoming kittens with all that. It's like letting a toddler loose and saying, I'm going to bed. Entertain yourself. So then Rita, in her infinite wisdom, said, you need a playpen, and we're sending out of the medical fund that we have, I'm sending you a playpen. And I honestly didn't think I needed it. And it was everything in my life because I would not have slept. So then they were out during the day. Well, then it got to where, I referred to them as the tiny terrorist triplets because they were just destroying everything. Like I was having a session and they jumped up on the dresser and turned the light off on me in the middle of the session.
Oh, yeah, I saw that.
In the middle of the session, everything went dark. And I was like, so I have a very large master bath and 3 adult children who inhabit the upstairs who have been taking care of them until they could get neutered. And then did I let them out right away when they got neutered?
That's what I was asking. What'd you do?
No.
Okay.
And why?
Well, for one, your cats, your resident cat, the ones that already live there, have been shut out of their favorite room and the bed for a long time, right? So there could be some built-up animosity going on. And also, the fear factor of, oh my gosh, 3 new ones at once, resources. Although now that I'm up here, 16, 17, 18, when I'm bringing a new cat, they just look at the cat and shake their head on another one.
I said
Brought in another one. I don't think you're at that point yet, are you?
No,
No.
not quite. Not where it was, but not quite to your point. I made that joke when you brought Zookie into the house, that
Yeah.
your cats all just rolled their eyes, looked at each other, and went, "She did
They
it
pretty
again.
much did.
She did it again." But yeah. Well, and one of the reasons that I wanted to leave them at least 2 or 3 weeks too is because just because they did it doesn't mean the testosterone's gone. It's all through their body.
Yeah, it takes 5 to 7
And
weeks or
so
something
4
like
to
that.
6,
4 to
to
6.
8, depending on what you're reading. You should see a drastic difference in 4, but 6 to 8 fully. So I was like, sorry guys, they're staying in seclusion for at least a couple more weeks because they're just going to rip everything.
Do you have
out.
a plan? Are you going to do
Yeah.
one at a time?
Yeah.
This is interesting because I haven't done that many at a time in a long time. I did 3 kittens at once or twice.
So first we tried bringing them out individually for love time, but there's 2 of them. Well, there's one of them that cannot be without his brothers. If you pull him out alone, he cries and looks for them, and it's
Aw,
just miserable.
which one
I
is
know it's
that? Is that the
horrible.
little runt?
Surprisingly enough, no.
It's Kevin, right?
It's no.
No.
Bean. And
Wow,
it's
the
so
alpha
weird.
one we thought was going to be alpha.
Their personalities, that teeny tiny little runt, which we think is actually 2 weeks younger than the rest, I don't think he was a runt. He has really come into it. And it's been funny to watch because we pegged it that they were about 2 weeks apart in ages, the first 2 and the third
Yeah.
that were supposed to be from the
Yeah,
same
plus
litter.
the little one was a runt.
Yeah. So watching the little one do things 2 weeks, he really is like 2 weeks behind. So Kevin does okay out on his own. George can do okay. So we're going to try to leave one with Bean and bring somebody out. And then we'll bring Bean
The other
out
2
last
together.
once his brothers are, comfortable because they do look at each other for this,
Yeah.
right? But the difference in personalities, the more cats, the more arguments, the more
litter boxes too. A lot of people forget when they expand their cat family, they really need to provide more litter.
I love doing this to people in sessions. I'll say, I'll talk about a litter that we've tried or something, and I'll say, are you ready for this? Try to imagine it. You ready? Rita has 18 litter boxes, and people just look mortified.
Yeah. I had 20, but I got rid of some that were breaking down, and I got some that are double size. So I
And
count
you
those
have
as 2.
2 that are automatic. So
Yeah, 2 automatic.
That counts, in my opinion.
Peanut butter won't use anything but the little robot.
That's funny. He's decided that's his friend.
He
Yeah.
waits in front of it. If I haven't scooped it, he sits there in the morning because he knows I scoop it first.
I count automatic litter boxes as more than one because we don't have the buildup, unless you have one and more than one cat, because if they both need it at the same time, this could cause an issue. So you still need, in my opinion, but
My little robot, it's on a thing overnight. It doesn't cycle overnight. So I've got to hit it first thing in the morning. So Peanut Butter's like, you know how he mouths.
that is the most vocal cat I've ever met in my entire. I thought Tiger was
But it's
bad.
not a pleasant meow.
No, Tiger was vocal in a, like you knew what he was thinking. And like, you'd tell him, all right, that's it, go upstairs. And he'd walk away going, and you knew he was cursing you out in feline-esque. But Peanut, oh my goodness, he's like an alarm constantly going off. Like,
Plus he's got some other issues too. On that happy note, let's take a quick break and then let's come back and talk about some of the idiosyncrasies, right?
yeah, I want to talk about the problems and getting along. I want to talk about financials. I want to talk about all that good stuff. We'll be right back.
You know the expression, cats have 9 lives. Well, what if you can give them one more? The Give Them 10 movement is on a mission to help give cats an extra life. How? With spay and neuter. Spaying or neutering your cat helps them live a longer, healthier life. And it helps control free-roaming cat populations too. Learn more about the benefits of spay and neuter and meet Scooter, the neutered cat, at GiveThem10.org. That's GiveThem10.org.
Let's talk pets
Let's talk pets.
on Pet Life Radio.
Pet Life Radio.
PetLifeRadio.com.
And we're back with 30 cats and counting, actually. This is the only one of our sanctuary cats that's actually available for adoption because she really needs somebody who can focus on just her. She's okay, but she just really needs a one-on-one.
She's a love bug, but
She's a
she's
sweetheart.
not comfortable. Speaking of multiples, there's a few cats she's really not comfortable with. Nobody's trying to hurt her, but they
No.
will be like, get out of here. I don't like you. And so she will stay upstairs to avoid it. And you are upstairs to work and you are upstairs to run up, of course, to feed them. And you try to give them a little attention. But the majority of your time is spent on the first floor. So we just
I've
feel like,
tried to take her downstairs. Like Lulu's another upstairs only cat, but I can bring her downstairs and she'll stay a while. I bring this one downstairs. I set her down. She shoots right back up the stairs, and that gets Jet all excited, and Jet chases her.
absolutely.
So, what are some things that you see with the multi environment that you don't really see with 2, 3, 4 cats?
Well, so you just nailed one of the issues, right? If you only had 3, 4 cats, you could spend more time with Teddy and help Teddy to get
Yeah.
over this. But when you have 18 cats,
It's
you have
hard.
to just do the best you can and over relive the best lives, right? But yeah, I see certain personalities of cats that don't like each other, just like with people. People often ask, so all your cats are, all your cats are friends now, right? Integrate into
Oh,
the
yes
friends.
and no. We've got some that avoid each other or they're peacefully coexistent. They don't fight. But no, they don't all love each other. And I sometimes see as like these young ones get older, some of the older cats will then befriend them because they didn't want all that kitten energy around them.
Absolutely, yes. That's the podcast we need to do.
Yes,
Really
definitely.
focus on my kitten energy. But yes, just like with people, if I am in a group, if I'm involved in a club, a church, whatever, and there's 50 to 100 people there, there's people I'm going to adore and seek out and be like, when are we doing lunch? And there's people that are going to say, hey, how are you? I like them, but we're not close. And then there's people that are like, hi. And then you go sit down
Hi, I'll go to the other side of the room now. Yeah.
because they're
Yeah.
not your favorite people. They with cats, and and there's no explaining it. It just is what it is. Or you get, we talked about talking to someone yesterday with one cat, and I was saying, she's talking about she'd like to get another cat, and I said, we looked at the circumstances that she was with. This is an older cat, so let's get an adult. Let's get a male because males and males go friends. There's all these little pieces. When you're at this number, I said, you go to that shelter or rescue and you tell them, this is exactly what I'm dealing with, exactly what I'm looking for. They know the personalities of this cat.
Right.
And I did that. And initially when I was bringing
Well, the
in
rescues
friends.
actually know the personalities better than the shelters. Some shelters, they have too many coming in and out. They don't.
This
they
is
don't.
true. Our shelter here in Defiance has an amazing volunteer squad. So they're
ours
in
does
there
too in
paying
Lancaster.
time, spending time with them. Those are the people to ask. How does
Shout
that
out to
cat get along?
LSPCA here and Faulkner's veterinary clinic that both work really closely with the shelter here.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes. Yes. Your best bet, those volunteers, they know this cat only gets on a certain cat. This cat wants to be the boss of the thing, which is another thing we always tell, if you've got a dominant cat, look for a submissive cat. If you got and you had 12 and 18.
You can see that change though. Like we thought Simba was going to be the up and coming alpha, but no, he's kind of become Peanut's sidekick, and Jet's
Absolutely.
going to be the up and coming alpha now. You can see it.
1,000% subservient
Yeah.
to peanut butter.
Yeah.
1,000%. And then you get, the dominant cat that's got to prove their dominance and will sometimes grab the other cat and bite them and do
Go to
things that
town.
look inappropriate. And, I've had that for years with Galway. And when I had,
It's so weird that because my orange cat, one of my orange cats was involved in this, but he's a submiss. So
Galway, he just had the need to tell everybody. And I think part of it comes with anxiety. I see that dominance behavior ramping up when people have cats outside or something, or they
Yeah.
brought a new cat in. It's like they have to be large and in charge and prove themselves and take care of the situation. So they go on this dominance spree, which ticks off the other cat who may just may become isolating. Like, I don't want to be around because this cat's going to get me, may fight back and you have an argument. You don't know. And the more is not always merrier.
let's talk about that. Like, just because you hear one row or hiss, it's not a reason to panic, okay? That's how they communicate with each other. If somebody's getting on another one's nerve, there's going to be a smack, there's going to be there's going to be some of that, just like with human siblings. They're going to have disagreements, okay?
Remember when I married my former husband who passed away, Dan, And so I'm newly parent to stepchildren. I had a 2-year-old, and then I've got these older kids, and I want to say they're like, I don't know, 5, 7, and 9, we'll say.
His kids.
And his kids, yeah. And Chris and Jenny would get into it and start, smacking each other and saying things. He was notorious for picking at her because he's a big brother. And one day I went to stop it, and Dan said, just let it go. Just let it go. And they argued, and she finally stood up and put herself in his place. So there are 2 ways you relate to this behavior. Number one, yeah, it's not always bad if your cat smacks the other one upside the head, right? It's communication. It's a boundary setting.
That's it. And that's okay. It's actually better if the more subservient cat at least sets a boundary. Otherwise, he really gets overtaken by your dominant cat.
Yes. How many times have I said, I just want to talk to Wolfie. Smack him.
Just smack him
Smack him, Fluffy. Smack him just once because he's really just uncertain and you just need to get your message across. Just smack him once.
Mm-hmm.
On the other hand, we have a flip side, and this comes from a pre-con that Nicole did yesterday. The shelter finally just said, let them together. Let them get it over with.
I was just thinking that I wanted to talk about that. That is a huge mistake, especially if you take one. I see this all the time on videos on Facebook and TikTok. You have an adult cat. They bring home a kitten, pop the kitten right in front of the adult cat. That is such a mistake. For one thing, it intimidates your resident cat. And for another thing, that little tiny fluff ball could get hurt. Right.
How would you feel if I walked into your house with another grown human being and said, they're going to live here with you now and you don't know them?
Yeah, I don't think
Here
I
they
would
are.
like that.
Shove in the face, right?
I don't
Like
think
at
I
least
like that so
get
much.
to know me first, right? 3 things can happen by this, okay? Maybe they will just set their boundaries and everything will be okay. It's a possibility. Somebody could get very, very hurt. And, if somebody's feeling threatened and gets hurt, they're going to fight back. You can end up with a vet bill you don't even want to think about. And it could be that one of the cats then gets scared and isolates. We've had clients come to us and say, my cat is so scared of this Tom that I brought in that she now lives in the closet in my laundry basket and I never see her anymore and she refuses to come downstairs. Nobody wants that either.
Can I talk about another mistake people make?
Please.
Mostly with the wet food. They put down 1 or 2 plates and expect all the cats to share. I have 18 cats, 21 plates of wet food go down because I have a few pigs that follow me around and want the next best thing, right? The hard food, sure, they can share. But if you're going to feed wet food, they really need their own individual dishes.
Absolutely.
You do that with yours, right? They each
Oh,
have their own
yeah.
plate.
Oh, yeah. Nobody's sharing. Yeah. That's just not natural. Yeah. Will somebody come in and eat off another one's plate? It's possible. Usually it just pushes them out, makes them go to another. But, and that would be my danger too, in my opinion. If I put down 6 plates or 12 cats, by the time they pushed each other out, there are cats that are very submissive. It'll just be like,
They won't get any.
okay, I don't get it.
I have to watch out myself, especially like Simba, when he's not feeling great, he doesn't come down for wet food, and I have to put it aside or he won't get any.
We seek them out. We do. So let's come up with some action items if you want to be a multi-cat household. Number 1,
Litter boxes.
litter boxes. Yeah. Well, yeah. Resources, period, right?
Resources.
The correct number for litter boxes is what?
Number of cats plus 1.
Yeah.
I only have 18, but like I said, to our automatic 2 are huge. So
There's a point where you just can't fit any more in. I do not have 13 litter boxes. I have 10. 1 is automatic. It's working. Okay. I'm just gonna, it's working.
So where should they put them? Should they all be in one room?
That's a good point. Yes. Litter boxes, 2 litter boxes side by side count as 1 litter box to your cat. So let's have them separated. Also, cats don't want to be in a vulnerable position when another cat is around. So to sit down, and I discussed this before, I don't want the robber to break in when I'm on the toilet because my pants are at my ankles and I cannot run. So same thing. They don't want to get into a vulnerable position and have somebody else there. So yeah, there's one in my living room, which I hate. There's one in my dining room, which I hate. They're tucked away. It's not as obnoxious as you think
Mine
it is.
too. You don't walk in and say, oh, there's 18 litter boxes here. No.
There is one in my kitchen. Again, it's on next to food prep. There are 2 in my bedroom. There are, they're
They need to be easy for the cats to get to, though. If you
every
bury them
bathroom
under,
has one.
I went on, back when I was doing in-person consultations, I went on one and they had the litter box like way in the back in the laundry room. They had like laundry hanging and that cat had to go through that and all the way in the corner. And no, he was
A lot of
peeing
times
and
they
pooping
won't.
elsewhere.
And especially, I'm going to say this is a rule for all cats, but especially if you have an older cat, you've got to have them on every floor, right? If I only had 2 cats, I still have to have some upstairs because if they're upstairs and they're hurting, especially if they're older, arthritis is setting in, they're not going to want to come downstairs. So
Some cats are just lazy, and they won't go downstairs.
absolutely multiple resources, the litter boxes, individual
Food
plate,
bowls.
multiple drinking stations. I have a
Yes.
fountain in my bedroom because they spend a lot of time here. I have a fountain in the kitchen. I have a fountain in the dining room.
Yeah, me too.
I have a bowl of water and another one in the kitchen because
Some
Kismet will
prefer
only
bowls.
do that. Kismet has to have a bowl on the kitchen counter. It's a thing. And then, of course, there's some upstairs because, yes, wherever you are, we want to encourage you to drink. So, resources.
Where should the food and water be, especially in relation to the litter box?
Well, we all want to grab a snack and a nice beverage and go sit in the toilet and poop and eat and drink it. 'cause
I do
that's
that
yummy.
sometimes to avoid people.
Yeah, but you're
begging.
pooping while you're doing it better anyway. Yeah, keep the litter box away. And we also like to put a little space between the water and the food. Cats in nature, they want that distance.
They don't eat their food by water because they know that they could potentially contaminate their water. So that's why they like them separate.
And understandable, look, you're dealing with, I have a 2-story house. I ain't a mansion, but it's a 2-story house. But, maybe you have a studio apartment. It's fine. Just give it a few feet. Work within what you can do. So resources, finances. I did low cost neuter for the 3 kittens. Well, CBA did for the 3 kittens. It was $300.
It was still $100, but there's some places that charge less.
What if my cat gets sick and needs to go to the vet? What vaccines am I going to keep up and how much are they? Get a full picture, please. How much is this food and litter going to cost? Y'all don't even want to know what Rita and I's Chewy bill looks.
I kept telling Linda the additional cat just eats the leftovers from the others, but at some point that's not true.
One was one thing, but then she keeps saying it as we add more and more and more. So
Yeah, we go through a lot of food. We'll talk about that on another podcast too, how much literal food we go through.
resources, finances, time.
That's really important, time.
How many people think that cats are independent little creatures that you can release into your home with a box and food and water and everything will be fine and they don't need any more than that?
A lonely singleton cat, right? Left alone all day. So they're bored.
Yeah. They hunt solitary, but they don't live solitary. Those girls live in a close clouder. They don't get out much. They're basically 50s housewives barefoot pregnant in the kitchen. And the boys, security guards with a subservient male paling around. Community is their jam, right? So are you going to have the time to devote to the attention, to the play, that sort of thing? And again, that's doable with Maltese, right?
Right.
Laser
We're
point.
multi-Maltese. We're multi-multi.
Multi.
I don't recommend most people do this, but we have had some clients with, 10, 12 cats, which is amazing if you know how to handle it.
Absolutely. So I'm going to give my wrap idea because I know we're getting close and then I want to hear from you. So my wrap idea, there's nothing wrong with having 30 cats if you can take care of 30 cats. Don't let anybody judge you or talk you out of it. If you are able to do this, do it. But know your limits and go slow and careful. Don't take on more than you can handle. Really look at this with the resources, the finances, the behavior problems that might come up.
Sure. We're here to help you with that.
PetBayReliance.com. Make sure you know what you're getting yourself into. Surprises are going to come, just like nobody can really know what they're getting themselves into having human children. But be as prepared as you can. Talk, get information, meet with us and just talk to us about the possibility and what you would need to put in place and we'll help you. Just be prepared. There's no judgment whether you have 2 cats or 30 cats.
No. Or 1 cat. If you
Or
can
one
only have
cat.
1 cat, have 1 cat. But just know you're going to have to provide them with stimulation.
Yeah. Be prepared for your specific situation and be ready to meet it. So, all right, that's it for me. You go, girl.
Well, one thing I want to bring up is kind of a touchy subject is your age. When you adopt cats, I'll be 64 this year, and I have some cats that are going to take me into my 80s, probably. Well, maybe not quite that far, but definitely into my 70s, right? So I don't want to adopt kittens now that I'm going to potentially die before they do. And then what happens? Well, they all go to Linda. But that's another story. That's another podcast. We're going to talk about planning for that. But just really think about that. You see this adorable kitten you love. Hey, man, I'm 75. Maybe I shouldn't adopt that, 5-month-old kitten.
Not unless you have a plan. Yeah, agreed.
Anyway, multi-cat households, that's our specialty. We do other things, but if you really want peace and harmony Even with just 2 cats, that's a multi-cat household. We can help. We've got the secret sauce.
Absolutely.
Well, thank you so much for listening to us. We're going to do more of these one-on-one things where we talk about cat behaviors. If you've got something you want us to talk about, feel free. Email us at support@catbehavioralliance.com. Meanwhile, thank you, Mark, for giving us this wonderful platform on Pet Life Radio. We're so grateful. Just remember, every day is Catter Day. We'll see you next time.
Let's Talk Pets, every week on demand, only on PetLifeRadio.com.